Welcome to the seasonal outlook for March 2019. My name's Andy Ackland. I'm a fire behaviour analyst from Forest Fire Management Victoria. About the seasonal outlook. So risk analysts come together from across the Victorian Country Fire Authority, the Department of Environment, Land, Water and Planning and the Bureau of Meteorology, and they analyse conditions to produce the seasonal outlook. We've developed this outlook to provide an overview to people of the weather and climate conditions that may increase or decrease the risk of bushfires and grass fires across Victoria. It looks at information based on previous conditions, particularly rainfall and temperature patterns, the current situation, especially looking at soil moisture conditions, and it looks forward, assessing some of the climate drivers and the longer range predictions for rainfall and temperature. And most importantly, it then pays attention to the implications for operational and management considerations. If you or anyone have any suggestions for how we can improve this presentation over time, please let us know, and we'll be providing contact details at the end. So a simple summary of the key points. Well, really the key points for this outlook are, for one, there's been record summer heat on top of severe rainfall deficits, and this has left many of Victoria's forests and grasslands in a very dry and flammable condition, particularly in the east of the state. The Bureau of Meteorology predicts below average rainfall and above average temperatures for the next 3 months. This is likely to result in the dryness and flammability potential of forests and grasslands persisting well through March, April and even into May. Warm, dry and windy conditions supporting active fire spread may also persist further into this autumn period than what normally occurs. So looking at what is really driving this, for one, we've had a very hot summer across most of Australia. The maximum, minimum and mean temperatures for February were well above average across most of Australia. In fact, it was the 4th warmest on record for the mean national temperature. In Victoria, we experienced the warmest month on record in terms of mean, maximum and minimum temperatures. And generally during February, maximum and minimum temperatures were well above average across all parts of Victoria. So now particularly looking at rainfall. Unfortunately, we've had a significant rainfall deficit over the past 12 months across much of Australia. And looking at the southeast, many areas are in the lowest 10% of all years for rainfall. Some pockets in Queensland, New South Wales and Victoria, particularly in the eastern ranges, have experienced their lowest rainfall on record for the last 12 months. Furthermore, on top of these 12-month deficiencies, rainfall during January to March has been very below average as well, and this has exacerbated dryness, particularly in the east of the state. So when we translate these to forest fire danger, we see the warmer and drier conditions, they've resulted in very much above average forest fire danger index, or FFDI, right across Australia during January and February. When we look across Australia with such a hot and dry air mass, the monthly FFDI values for January and February were among the highest that have been recorded in many states. Victoria was no exception to this. The drought factor, an indicator of forest dryness and an important factor into the FFDI, reached the highest values of 10 across almost the entire state. In fact, parts of the eastern ranges where normally damp ash forests occur have become unusually dry and are supporting significant bushfire activity not seen since 2009 or 2006 in some areas. Looking at soil moisture, a lot of this heat and dry air mass has translated to very low root zone soil moisture, some areas at or near record low levels. This translates to very flammable forest fuel conditions across much of Victoria and especially in the east. As a result, we've already seen significant bushfire activity in the beginning of March. The severe dryness has supported large fire potential across much of eastern Victoria, even into some of the normally wetter forests. With some of the larger fires including Lacolla at 38,000 hectares, Gembrook, Moroka, 14,000 hectares, and the Mount Darling area at 11,000. Many of these large fires developed very large pyrocumulus smoke plumes, some reaching over 10 kilometres high. Some of them actually developed further into what's called pyrocumulonimbus, or fire thunderstorms, and these created their own lightning downstream. In such cases, bushfires can be very dangerous and very erratic, spreading rapidly and spotting long distances, despite milder FFDI. And control for suppression may be really difficult when we have such large smoke plumes. Looking at the climate drivers across the globe, particularly the El Niño, Southern Oscillation and Indian Ocean Dipole, both of these remain neutral at the moment. But the Bureau of Meteorology does indicate an El Niño watch, meaning there's a 50% chance that an El Niño will develop during autumn. Now, the watch does not guarantee that an El Niño will develop, but it is about double the normal likelihood. And importantly, the potential effects of this could include continued reduced rainfall, warmer temperatures, and increased fire risk into the autumn. The Bureau of Meteorology's outlook suggests that it'll be a dry rainfall outlook for March through to May, along with above average day and nighttime temperatures. Unfortunately, on top of the dry conditions that we have already, this is likely to exacerbate the flammability potential of many forests and persist this well into the autumn, potentially right into April and May. Warm, dry and windy conditions may continue to occur much later than normal, potentially right through into April. So importantly, what does all this mean for our operational and management considerations? We can expect above normal flammability potential in both forests and grasslands, and this may persist right through March into April and possibly even into May. The threat from large landscape scale bushfires that we've seen recently is expected to persist right through March, with some risk of it persisting into April. There will be the risk of new starts from lightning as well. Grass fire threat will remain across the state, as most grasslands are well cured, even in normally greener areas such as South Gippsland. However, grass condition might be depleted by harvesting and grazing in a lot of areas, so there may be an increased chance of successful suppression compared to in the peak of summer. Really importantly, a strong first attack suppression capability is likely to be required for both grass fires and bushfires, and this is right through March and probably a fair way into April. We can expect an increased requirement for blacking out and patrols, where forests with significant rainfall deficits have much more flammable, heavier fuels. And planned burning opportunities may be delayed in some areas due to the severe dryness, but there may be some opportunities developing in some of the normally damp, wet forests in the west. And these are currently dry, but not quite at the severe levels of those in the eastern ranges. And we may also see some of the higher elevation areas in the east start to support some planned burning operations, particularly as we move more through April. If you have any further suggestions or ideas about improving this Outlook presentation, please feel free to let us know and contact CFA Predictive Services, the Forest Fire Risk Assessment Unit in DELP. And feel free to learn more about some of the drivers and influences of this outlook, including the soil moisture, the recent climate information and the outlook information. And some websites are suggested here as prompts for this learning. Thanks very much.